time to talk about Grady Hendrix. We're going to talk about a few of his books this year. We're going to start with what I think a lot of people consider his best novel, which is called My Best Friend's Exorcism. Now, this came out in 2016 at the height of the 80s throwback, memberberry slop era, as I like to think of the 2010s will be forever known as 80s memberberry slop and like crying over everything. It's like the two things that the 2010s will be remembered for. Oh, and 1,000 Marvel films. So let's talk about what's My Best Friend's Exorcism about. It's about two friends, Abby Rivers and Gretchen Lang. They've been friends since '82, when Gretchen was the only one to come to Abby's birthday party, and they've just been friends ever since. Abby comes from a low-income house, and she's gotten these scholarships to go to this prestigious prep school, whereas Gretchen comes from an upper-class house that very pro-Reagan, very late 80s, your parents know what's best for you type house. And so there's a bit of a wage gap disparaging aspect to their two families, but that doesn't stop them being friends. Until one day they're at their friend Margaret's house and they all drop acid, along with their friend Glee. And Gretchen disappears. And Abby goes and searches for her, finds this really creepy abandoned house, and they find Gretchen naked. And after that, she doesn't act the same way. And Abby is the only one to really notice and care about it. And like with William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, Abby tries everything to get people to notice, like, hey, something is wrong with my best friend, and she's just completely ignored. And so, as Gretchen does more and more cruel things to everyone, Abby gets more and more desperate till she reaches out to a guy that is part of this group of bodybuilders that are like pro-Jesus-y people, that they claim their fitness is because they believe in Jesus. And so she reaches out to one of them, and they perform an exorcism on Gretchen. And it's really, this book is more about the drama of friends drifting apart than it is the horror. And this is something I want to talk about with Grady Hendrix books, because I'm going to be reviewing another two of these, and they all have a problem that I didn't notice until getting into this book, which is that Grady Hendrix is a great idea guy. He's not great on execution. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of good ideas in this book. From the way that the exorcism is handled, to all the friend dynamics, that sort of thing. They're all interesting, but he will take shortcuts with them. This book in particular has that all the adults are stupid. It reads like YA, but it's too graphic to be YA, if that makes sense. And it's not written at a YA level. It's just, it takes this really dumb stance. For instance, Gretchen's parents are pro-Reagan religious nuts. And they're just don't want to think of something's wrong with their daughter other than she's on drugs. Abby's dad is a weird corn person, which is like a weird throwaway joke in the beginning of this. And he's like a deadbeat. And her mom is just this haggard woman that has to work 2 jobs to support her family. I would say, oh, she's admirable, but she's kind of a bitch. She's not kind of, she is god awful. And the book doesn't treat her nearly as badly as it treats the other parents, but it should. And so there's that inconsistency. And we get to another thing with Grady Hendrix books. This is the least egregious of all of them. All the men are idiotic in Grady Hendrix books. FYI, if you read Grady Hendrix books, all the men have some sort of goofy idiocy to them. They're either incredibly unlikable or they're just kind of dumb. And that's just really frustrating. This is the least egregious of those. Because we know going into it that the bodybuilder guy, he's a bonehead, but I mean, like, he means well. And overall, I think this is his most solid book. I get why my buddy the Geeks Addict likes him, which I'll have Matthew's channel linked below. But I have to dock this book some points because it's just not well... it just doesn't follow through on all this stuff. And unlike with The Exorcist, where it was interesting enough to not know, why the demon was possessing Reagan, you're kind of left with the question of how she got possessed and, what the point was. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of this. I think it's fine for what it is. It's better than the movie. The Amazon exclusive film of this is god-awful, and you should not watch it. It is a terrible adaptation of this book. But what would I rank this book? I'd probably give it a 3.6 out of 5. It's decent. It's well worth your time to read at least once, but I wouldn't read it time and time again. I should also note that Grady Hendrix always does something with his chapters, typically. And these chapters, they're all 80s charting songs, which is fun. So, anyway, have a nice day.